That's right. Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5. Over 10 years ago, as the Dark Knight changed things forever, we lost the actor who made it happen. Heath Ledger delivered the ultimate performance that left us eternally wanting more. While we all thought we saw the last of his portrayal as the Clown Prince of Crime, two men unearthed, let's say, amazing footage of what he might have done next.
The job falls to us to comb over the files and documented exploits of patient 4479. This ultimate tribute to the role of a lifetime. Let's start today's session with staff verification on the Joker Blog's case study. All right, Dragon, it's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. This is kind of like one of the I like this episode quite a bit. I just want to start out with this. I think this episode probably has the most it's an info dump, but it's a good info dump, and it's an info dump done in a clever sort of way. You know, it doesn't just feel like characters like expositing stuff at you. It's even though that's literally what it is. But Dragon, the interesting thing about this one is that it really is kind of like the midway point between the two seasons. And folks, unfortunately, because of that, and this is all my fault, not Dragon's fault, any scheduling issues at all, like blame them on me, not this man. But we kind of ran into this did sort of seem like the type of thing where it's like, all right, like we don't necessarily, like we can kind of take a break with it. It's sort of like a midway point sort of thing. But I gotta say, Dragon, watching it, it is very well done. I mean, it is essentially kind of like a season one recap, if you will. But Dragon, if this is the Joker blogs in fucking clip show form, my God, they're still really compelling. But I assume that this was put together like, it's kind of halfway it's kind of like halfway a recap of season one, halfway a tease of season two, if you will. But I really like it a lot. I think especially the Lyle stuff is especially compelling. I'm sure we'll get to that. But all the little Easter eggs in the text scroll, Dragon. I got Phantasm referencing.
Oh yeah.
Lots of fun things. I noticed the oh God, I'm blanking on the name, but the big evil machine was mentioned.
Hardak was
Hardak. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I had to watch this a couple times.
Well, this was your big homework assignment, Tiki. This episode is roughly the whole reason you had to watch the entirety of Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, all that Kroll stuff. This was your test.
Right. And Dragon, rest assured, I watched the episode twice. I don't think I got everything from the Kroll stuff because there's a lot of Easter eggs there. But yeah, I definitely was like, I was picking up on stuff for sure. So you might have to point out some of the Easter eggs there, but I was definitely picking up on it. But seriously, that is like a fun thing about this episode is that there is just a lot of information being thrown at you. And you're not really sure whether you should be paying attention to the text scroll or what's going on with the interviews. It's almost overwhelming in a good way. You know what I mean? It's almost interactive in terms of like, oh God, do I pay attention to that or that? Oh. I'm sure you, as someone who's just studied the crap out of this episode, I'm sure you obviously know every little nook and cranny of the Easter eggs. I watched the episode twice in a row, and I really got a lot out of it. But like I said, I think it is very possible that there's some Easter eggs I might have missed there. So we'll go through them. Mm-hmm. All right, but yeah, so to say, Dragon, I'm very excited about season 2, if you will, or phase 2, or however they put it.
Okay, I'll tell you this much. Okay. Let's just say for our plan, you're right in that there are 2 seasons. Let's just say that we're going to do it in 3 phases, much like the animated Batcave. Phase 1, we're 1 episode away from being complete with phase 1.
Okay.
Okay, then phase 2 is going to go by like that, and then we get to phase 3, which let's just say is going to be tricky.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, with that in mind, Dragon, you want to give some context to this before we go beat by beat on it?
Yeah, sure. There's not a whole lot here, but the big thing to tell you is like almost in a row, we have changed our found footage format yet again in a very clever way. We kind of went from the action, kind of almost thrill ride version of the found footage thing, like we had with the client, with basically our true ending to the
You know
chronological
what's
the ending
genius
of the
about this,
story.
Dragon?
What?
What is the news if not a literal clip show of found footage?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Think about it, Tiki. We went from essentially our main ending, which again was kind of the thrill ride. Then we had the wedding tape, which is kind of the ending to the story. Then you have, it's kind of the climax, so to speak. It's the climax followed by the ending, and then we have the aftermath, which again is through yet a completely different venue of the news.
This feels almost kind of like the Psycho aftermath, where it's like the police like just sitting the audience down to explain what happened.
It's like a cross between like the psycho aftermath and Nightcrawler.
Uh-huh. Oh, by the way, Dragon, I saw, that movie with the title that you hate named X?
Yeah.
It's got some really sweet Psycho Easter eggs in it.
Nice.
Anyways.
If only I could find a better title.
The
So, anyways, the point
title
being,
makes sense in the context of the movie.
so the really cool thing about our news thing here, and you can kind of see that they looped it into to some of the found footage and some of the stuff we did here. We had used some really cool kind of tricks when in doing the news show. Remember, the Dark Knight's viral marketing included Gotham, like short Gotham Tonight
This
segments.
absolutely feels like Dark Knight viral marketing for sure.
Which literally, like, if you were really up to date on the Dark Knight viral market, and I'm not saying like you necessarily had to follow the whole like the big basically the big scavenger Easter egg hunts that they had going on. Like they go to a shop and buy a cake that's intended for a Joker thug or something like that. You had just straightforward. You have like Anthony Michael Hall as Mike Engel having these interviews, like ones with Sal Maroni and then Harvey Dent, and then you like just kind of these things that teed things up, and literally that the viral marketing ended with the bank robbery that was in process, that was in progress. So it literally led right into the start of the Dark Knight. It was really awesome. So again, it's we bring in Mike Engel and Summer Gleason, and again, this the big thing here is this is the again, this is kind of the fantasy we all had that we kind of teed up a little bit in Dark Knight Rises. We didn't fully, execute it, but it's the fantasy of, oh boy, if only we could Nolanize Batman the animated series in kind of this world building episode, and very much does it here. We kind of set up like, oh god, there's so much quality stuff, particularly from the animated series, we could loop into a Nolan verse if it's kind of like open ended.
Sure. We got a few things of that in here.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Now, I'm not going to promise you're going to see all of those things, come to fruition by any stretch, but some particular things you will.
Yeah, but I mean, even with Nolan, sometimes the Easter egg is enough. It's
Yeah,
enough to be like, oh, okay, that character exists.
yeah. It's the little things.
Right.
Okay, I'll also just shout him out. Peter Lysine as a very young-looking Mike Engel. That's kind of the thing with all the casting. You're very much kind of younger versions of the actors, but again, pretty
Dragon, the
obvious.
one I'm sorry, the actor who played Bullock did a good job with the voice and everything, but that was the one time where I was like, that's a little too young for Bullock.
Yeah, well, there's only so much. Again, they're all college students.
I know.
I'm just saying,
I'm saying, with Bullock, it's like I would hire like the college janitor or something to get on screen. I don't
I'm just
know.
saying, with the proviso,
Pull some screens with one of the kids, pull some strings with one of the campus adults. One of the gruff-looking campus adults.
My point is, with the proviso that there was a limitation, I think they did pretty well.
Sure.
I mean, this kid, for example, looks pretty on the money for Anthony.
I have no problem with this guy being
Yeah.
Mike Engel. I totally think he looks like a young news reporter type for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, all that said, let's dive into it. Now, obviously, there's kind of a dual narrative going on here. So basically, I know what all the news ticker stuff is. I'll bring it up sporadically once
Okay.
we can cover the main stuff. So again, Gotham Tonight is reporting on the Wedding Day Massacre, the WDM, if you will. We have Mike Engel, who reminder, folks, the really fun thing with Mike Engel coming back into the phrase, Mike Engel was taken hostage by the Joker when he hijacked the airwaves in The Dark Knight. So him reporting on this is quite fun. So we're the big thing, as you can kind of tell by our image here, we're really teasing up the new owner of Arkham, because remember the big ending to our story was one of Joker's one of the big things with Joker's plot. The whole reason he brought Dr. Arkham along was to have him sell Arkham Asylum to somebody.
Sure.
So we're gonna see that plan come. We're gonna see what the big payoff of that was next episode.
Right, so they're promising a new owner of Arkham Asylum that might come as a familiar face.
Yeah.
Dragon, there's a silhouette, a black silhouette with a green question mark. I wonder who it could be.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple. There are a couple contenders.
For
sure. Yeah. And again, there were some speculations for sure. I mean, I won't say who it is per se
I think my only question is how close to the Matt Reeves Riddler is it going to be?
Oh, we'll see. Oh, no, he's not. I'll tell you one thing.
Because I've always been very curious to see a Nolanized Riddler, Dragon. I
think we can say for certain he's not going to have a mask. He's not going to have like a.
Well, yeah, he's not going to. As Laser Dude would put it, he's not going to have the Gimp mask.
Yeah, he's not going to have the Gimp mask. What was it? Son of Zodiac? Zodiac was the one with the mask, or was it Son of Sam?
I honestly, I'm not completely sure.
I think it's Zodiac.
Might have been like an original pull.
No, I know it was a pull from. I could have sworn it was a nod to Zodiac, but maybe it was just they're referencing the crimes. I don't know. I thought it was.
I don't know. You're putting me on the spot with this. I want to say it wasn't Zodiac, but I could be wrong.
All right. Well, the point being, the mask was a pull or an idea of some variety that again would have definitely gone way after this. So anyway. Okay, so here's some of our ticker stuff, and again, the big thing with kind of the news ticker is it's looping, it's threading the Batman the Animated Series needle into the Nolan.
That's exactly what it's doing. Yeah, it's like going overtime, like continuity, folks, continuity right here. It's all canon.
Of course, I was geeking out, like, oh my god, these are all so many good ideas. This is how we should do it. Again, this is like back when the third movie's about to come out. It's like, oh, please do this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So the first big thing we do, I mean, just kind of like as we transition a little bit here, Summer Gleason takes over the report. Now, obviously, Summer Gleason, there's a big, that's a fun cyclical thing. Just the irony
I'm
being,
honestly kind of surprised Summer Gleason has not been represented in live action yet. Dragon.
Well, here's why.
Okay.
So the fun irony with Summer Gleason is, remember, Summer Gleason was original to the animated series, filling in for Vicky Vale because they didn't want to just redact the whole Vicky Vale thing from '89 because they don't want to do that character.
I'm just saying, Summer Gleason is just like she's a slightly more well-developed version of Vicky Vale, I think.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think it's just really staggering how they really just kind of abandoned the whole Vicky Vale thing, just because I think they realize, like, yeah, there's not really.
I have no love lost for Vicky Vale. I don't know what to tell you.
I know that's the thing, and that's just basically like Vicky Vale. Aside from eye candy,
Vicky Vale is like the first girlfriend, Dragon. It's like she's there, but there's bigger and better things to move on to.
Well, you gotta remember, Batman. The whole Batman girlfriend slot is always kind of filled usually with. I mean, unless you're in a cat suit or you're the daughter of Ra's al Ghul or Wonder Woman, you're not really going to have much stay power. And I mean, beyond that, it's just the idea that. Again, like Summer Gleason filling in for Vicky Vale, and now Summer Gleason filling in for Vicky Vale in the animated series, and now the worm is turned. We're now, hey, instead of Vicky Vale, we're bringing in Summer Gleason. That's the people's Vicky Vale, the one we actually did a few things with.
I think the question is, what would a Nolanized Chase Meridian look like?
Well, you know what, Tiki, I don't know if you're aware of this. They actually brought Chase Meridian to the comics now recently.
I think you told me this, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've always kind of wanted to see, because Chase Meridian was a good idea. Honestly, what I've always
she was a good idea who was terribly executed. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. What I'm saying is, I've always wanted to see, like, perhaps a revised Harley Quinn origin in which she is played like Chase Meridian. That's always what I wanted to see. But anyway, point being, so Summer, she's checking in with the Arkham staff. And basically, the big thing here with the Arkham staff, we're seeing how Joker has changed and impacted all the people that he's met. And again, this is like the mission statement of the show, Tiki, where it's the idea that Joker is a static character, much like the Batman, in which
totally
he does not change, but he got the twisted idea of, like, they're trying to change me, I'm going to help them and change them, make them their true selves, which ultimately he did. With one, we check in with everybody but one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that later. So, anyways, let's see. So on the crawl, we have the Wedding Day Massacre, in which the Kopsky family is suing Arkham very rightfully.
Right.
Jack Ryder's footage. He claims he got amazing footage, but it was stolen. So Jack Ryder, close but no cigar yet again.
Womp womp.
We reveal he's alive, by the way, because he's whining about things. So he's alive. We'll see how he gets rewarded next season, perhaps. Let's see. Bullock. Bullock essentially, this is kind of funny. Bullock, he just takes credit for like the arrest. And
yeah.
We literally saw Joker just gave himself up. The cops did not, not help.
He pretty much gave himself up like Seven style. He just marched in there. Detectives.
Yep. It was more in the Joker's case.
Right.
Commissioner.
Right. Oh God.
Anyway. So, basically Freak busted out. My boys took him down. Excuse me, I'm going to get drunk.
Okay, so I think, like I said, I think the writing and the characterization on Bullock is really spot on. And like you said, there's only so much they can do with the actor. The actor has a little bit of a baby face, but whatever.
They gave him the beard to cover that up, but clearly there's only so much that's going to be able to do.
Yeah.
All right, now here's something cool. And again, they pulled this from the actual Gotham Tonight viral marketing footage. That this episode was inspired by. It had some footage of Gary Oldman.
Yeah. And I do really like how they worked it in there because it kind of made the whole thing feel just a little bit more officially tied to the Nolan films. Yeah.
Yep, you had some footage of the Gary Oldman Commissioner Gordon, which I love,
aka the best Commissioner Gordon.
Yep, for sure. In terms of live action, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's see. So, basically, Gordon emphasizing the GCPD is going to go to lengths to make sure this never happens again, because ultimately, after the Wedding Day Massacre, 8 were left dead, countless injured. And you can actually track like all the people that the.
No, you can. Yeah.
Which I love that. Anyway, so we basically reestablished, because it's going to come into fray just to kind of put a fine point on things next episode, but it gets reestablished here again, the whole season recap, if you will, as you were mentioning earlier. Again, big basically Joker's whole plan here is, after the Dark Knight, he's being assessed whether he's going to go to Arkham or Blackgate, and Joker made a very compelling case for why he belongs in Arkham. And again, he's being assessed by Harleen Quinzel. Meanwhile, some news crawl stuff. The SRO Hotel in Park Row got mentioned. That was the big Appointment in Crime Alley episode from Batman the Animated Series. That's where Leslie Tompkins and the people of Crime Alley were kind of holed up in. Janice Porter. This is a Dark Victory, the sequel to Batman Long Halloween. Janice Porter is the new DA who took over Harvey Dent's job after he became Two-Face in the Long Halloween. So she's mentioned as the new DA. Let's see. So we had some stocks, some little stock ticker going by. We have like Roland, we have Daggett Industries, of course, Roland Daggett from the animated series, Wayne Enterprises, and LexCorp. Yeah.
I don't know if Nolan would have dipped his toe into the Superman mythos, Dragon. I don't know. Somehow I doubt it.
I mean, it's a guy can dream though, can he?
It's cool with LexCorp. I think LexCorp itself would fit into the Nolan verse. I think Superman is obviously where you draw the line.
For sure. So let's see. So now here's a little problem that always there's a typo in this news scroll that always bothered me. It still bothers me. They messed up Kirk Langstrom's name.
Oh God!
So in the crawl it says Kurt Langstrom, which obviously I think what they're thinking of is Kurt Connors, like the lizard, but it's like who also transforms into a monster. Is usually a nice guy, transforms into a monster. But so it's Kirk, like Captain Kirk, Kirk Langstrom. That's what it's supposed to be. Anyway, he's got a new wonder drug, which again will turn him into a man-bat. Simon Trent, the Gray Ghost from Batman Animated Series, he dies watching the new Matt Hagen film, The Terror, the man who becomes Clayface.
Yeah, Easter eggs all over the place. Yeah,
and we're close to Easter too. All right. So anyway, with Summer Gleason, she's sitting down with Harleen Quinzel. This is a very interesting thing. I want to get your take on this, or a little sit down with Harley Quinn after her fiance was killed right in front of her.
I think this episode kind of, it really does go to show sort of the denial phase of Harley, where she's still trying, like, in spite of everything just going terribly, terribly wrong, she's still like in that sort of like, opportunistic, looking to advance her career mode, but almost sticking to it a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, we asked her point blank, like, was it worth it? And again, like the answer is just so interesting to me, where it's like, so some, like, I'll basically, again, she's very obviously in denial about her obsession. She still is remaining the Joker's doctor after everything that he did to her. And it's like, if I'm doing what I'm doing so someone else doesn't have to lose someone they love, then yes. And again, just that answer in itself is like, that's not a no. And she's deluded in thinking like she can change things.
Right, right. Yeah, totally,
It's
totally.
like all the lives that were lost, including her fiance. A priest was kneecapped. It's like, this is like yes, it was all worth it. Like, yeah. Oh god. All right. So also you'll notice she was wearing some red and also blonde streaks in the hair, a little bit more blonde in the hair.
No, I do notice that. I do notice that very, very slow. This is a very Nolan-esque thing to do. Is that very slowly we're starting to see the trademarks of her appearance come into play.
Yep, yep. All right. Okay. So then we have we check in with the Scarecrow. Now this is funny again because the actor regretted it so much the first time when they shot the episode, and then the blogs took off in popularity because he felt really like he felt really like a jerk. So what he did is Tori Halverson, the actor who plays Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow, he shaved off the goatee, which he only kept for like the arrogance. He only
Right,
kept that
right.
for the arrogance of youth. By the way, I don't want to shave, and they realized, oh man, I look so much like him. If only I had shaved, it would have been
Dragon,
perfect.
I don't think he has a Greg Sestero-esque level of reasoning to not want to shave.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. It wasn't even for like a part or anything. It was literally just the arrogance of youth.
Right.
So he's about to be released because he was pals. He was teacher's pet with Doctor Arkham. Arkham, basically, the last thing he did before the Wedding Day Massacre was he put him forward Jonathan Crane's release. So he's about to get out. That's going to be important for later. He makes the very salient point. Patient 4479 scares me.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
All
let's
right, Dragon,
see.
I want you to imagine Tommy Wiseau binging through the Joker plots.
Well, we know he's kind of a Joker fan. We saw
No,
those
that's true.
issues.
That's true. Like it's not out of the realm of possibility. And then when this episode comes up and the new clean shaven Dr. Crane appears, Tommy Wiseau will just look at the screen and he'll be like, baby face.
Yep, I believe it. I believe it.
All right. Anyways,
All
baby
right.
face.
So okay, so as I stated earlier, we checked in with everybody but one, and this is going to be an important detail to file away, Tiki. Dr. Arkham was unavailable for comment. We saw him just kind of leaving and
Yeah,
dodging the
Dr.
press.
Arkham, he is not doing well, man, mentally speaking, I'm guessing. I'm
Yeah,
guessing that Dr. Arkham might be in Arkham himself or something like that.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Might be a patient.
yeah. Let's just say there's some evidence in the comics to suggest that Dr. Arkham definitely could end up as a patient. But then again,
Uh-huh.
we might go a different route with it here. Let's just say there's some interesting stuff with Dr. Arkham coming. I'll say that much. All right, let's see. So then we check in with Dr. Thomas Elliot. He weighs in on kind of the Arkham affair. Dr. Elliot, a very respected figure. Now, again,
Yeah,
this
and
is
I
the
forgot that he was involved.
and you remember the fun fact about the actor who plays Dr. Elliot, don't you?
I do not. I'm sorry.
Does he look at all familiar to you?
Vaguely.
Okay, I'm going to put a pin in that. We're gonna check in with that in a minute. So Dr.
Okay.
Elliot, so he calls Arkham. He calls out the whole revolving door policy problem of Arkham, in which they think they're curing people, or putting them out too early, and they can end up right back in there. We check with Hugo Strange, who notice has like a little like old, like not Victorian. I don't know. I'm getting Victorian from like little kind of creepy dentist statue behind him.
Uh,
And again, a little foreshadow what he's going to
can
look
I
like.
just say Hugo Strange is I think the actor is really coming into his own with this role, like the more we see him.
Yeah, the actor who plays Hugo Strange is really good, and he, you're going to see him going forward. He's going to have like a really, this guy's going to do some really impressive stuff to you.
Because like when you first see him, just based on first appearances, it's like, oh, that's not really Hugo Strange. But I really feel like the mannerisms and his speaking patterns and his delivery, like it really does kind of suck you in.
Yeah, and, he's talking about like the intolerable conditions, and he's practically losing his hair over there. A little ha ha ha. He's going to end up looking like traditional Hugo Strange
Right,
down the
right, right.
line. So again, the aftermath of it
I'm
all, we
gonna
kind
end
of
up looking like BD Wong.
yeah. So they teed up the again the aftermath thing, which was kind of bugging him at the wedding. The video, ever since the video session leaked, he lost his job at Arkham. You know, he's in a legal battle over it. He's being divorced from his wife, who isn't happy with him,
Uh-huh.
and you know, he had to move because his address was posted on the internet, and he's still currently getting hate. I'm still receiving hate mail.
It's safe to say that this guy might be the most fucked up out of all of the Joker's victims who are still living.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, even when you go back.
Well, I don't know. Then we get to another guy later on, and he might be. I don't know. It's interesting.
It's a fair point, but again, all of these, like all the, just the fact that you saw is how Joker got in these people's heads. Like, yeah, with Hugo Strange, you literally just kind of laid out that whole like the faked hypnotized journey of like I'm gonna play into your hand, and because you think you have the power right now, you don't have a single ounce of power in this. You know, I've led you to your own house with me stooping your wife.
Right.
All right, so let's see. Okay, we have okay, now here I'm going to reveal to you the whole time. So I think so. We have the meta gag of after crashing a colleague's wedding and blowing up a hospital I used to work at. No, I'm not a fan of the clown.
Right.
Tiki, Thomas Elliott's played by Scott McClure. Scott McClure is the Joker.
Oh,
Remember?
okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, you did tell me that before. That's really mind-blowing.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So again, it's a really meta gag of like, no, I'm not a fan of the clown. Well, you are the clown.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course Thomas Elliot he becomes Hush. That's the whole deal with that character. That's like basically you've been prepared for everything but the Hush thing. Which I mean, even so, you've been kind of looped into Hush a little bit over the years.
Oh, I know about Hush. Yeah,
that's the thing. So based on that's Hush was the only thing I was ever worried about in terms of research for you. So you got it. Anyway, so we see some B-roll of the actual shooting of the hospital blowing up. By the way, you know they're showing the actual like when they shot it from like
that is cool. That the B-roll of that.
Yep. Let's see. So Hugo Strange's new strategy, and this is really a cool way to do this, in that Hugo Strange traditionally obsessed with Batman, uncovering who Batman is. So the idea is that he's going to research the Batman, get inside the Batman's head to get inside to understand 4479. So it's kind of a fun kind of path that we've laid for that sort of that journey. And we're asking Thomas Thomas Elliott's hoping to continue the work of his idol Thomas Wayne, and this leads Summer Gleason to ask about Bruce Wayne's surgery. Like, are you coming by to do Bruce Wayne's surgery after his accident? I like to keep my affairs with the Wayne family on the hush hush.
Nah, they said it.
Yeah, but also it's the fact he's getting a little cagey talking about the Wayne family. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's see. We got some Krull stuff here. There's some really cool. Some of my favorite Krull stuff, actually. The Ventriloquist shoots up the Iceberg Lounge.
Okay, Ventriloquist would be a really fun villain to see how Nolan would do it, Dragon.
Absolutely.
Like, it would probably just have to be a schizophrenic guy who's losing his mind and disassociating with the puppet.
Oh, for sure. I can just imagine how Nolan would absolutely shoot the puppet like up close, like he was the main centerpiece. Like, imagine like a dark room. I can imagine this. Imagine if you had like the ventriloquist in a dark room, which the ventriloquist is like shadowed in darkness, but there's like a spotlight on the dummy. Like something like that. All right, so the idea is like the Iceberg Lounge had a ventriloquist act that basically turned into Scarface shooting up the place. Which again, so this is our second reference to the Iceberg Lounge. Kind of exciting and teeing up some Penguin stuff, perhaps. Let's see. So Hardak again. We have Carl Rossum and Hardak at this point. Making prosthetics, not the full robots. Again, kind of Nolanizing Hardak, kind of a prosthetics program that might evolve.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. There's been here's something big. Cat burglaries in the area. Someone stole this cat burglar has stolen the Isis diamond.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's like, I honestly hope that we don't see Catwoman in this, just because I'm kind of take or leave on her, especially the Nolan version, but...
Well, we'll see. And you gotta remember, though, there might be more time to gestate a Catwoman than, say, what we did in the Nolan film. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm so over the dynamic, though. It's like, all right, I get it. I get it. They like each other, but they're on different sides of the track. I get it.
Yeah, but let's. I don't want. I don't want to say too much. All right. So, Temple Fugit. Temple Fugit, of course, the Clock King. He took a hostage. Basically, the idea is like his big freak out. His big debut here was Temple Fugit, the man, probably was late for a subway. Took someone hostage at gunpoint, shouting "Time,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
time!" And Renee Montoya took him down. It was her big hero collar.
I could see the Clock King being basically the evil version of the guy who's like, there was time now.
Yep. So that's like, the Clock King was always like the greatest go to for like if back when we all thought like we're gonna go with a villain we haven't seen before. I think we all were thinking Temple Feud. They're all thinking along the
Uh,
lines of like Clock King. We could do that. The animated series did a wonderful rendition of Clock King. It's psychological and Nolan's all about time and stuff. This would play into his hand perfectly after Inception. Yeah.
yeah, sure. It would really
Yeah.
now that you put it that way.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Clock King is perfect for Nolan. Again, we had to go on that. Like a lot of people were thinking the big two. I don't know if you remember this from the older speculatory days in between. Probably post Inception, especially was Clock King and Black Mask were the big hopefuls. They
I
were the big.
definitely remember Black Mask for sure. I don't remember as much Clock King murmurs.
Yeah, yeah. Those were the big two, and
For
maybe
me, it was Black
Ventriloquist.
Mask and Riddler.
Oh yeah, well yeah, you're right. I'm just
Riddler
saying.
was my big one for me personally.
I mean, I think you're right. I think everyone wanted Riddler Tiki. It was just the fact once they said like we're gonna go with a villain you haven't seen before when we lied. When they lied, it was like, oh, that's what we're gonna go with. So that's why. But yes, you're right though. Okay. And we see ultimately who won by the next guy who gets his hands on a Batman franchise. Riddler. It's gonna be my first one
Yeah.
out. Okay, let's see. So okay, here's a dark one. Jervis Tetch. So the Mad Hatter, which again, there's some renditions in the Mad Hatter that are really dark and
Mad
creepy.
Hatter's
It's like,
another one that I'd love to see in the Nolan verse.
yep. So the take they kind of teed up here is that this is very much like the darker version of Mad Hatter, where he's assumedly a child predator, which
Basically, yeah, which I
he
mean that's pretty much how I take the character already, just on surface level. But imagine how much scarier Nolan could make that concept.
I love the detail that they kept him a scientist though. So it's the fact that this basically scientist Jervis Tetch was arrested at the Alice in Wonderland park for indecent exposure.
Uh-huh.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Garfield Lynn seemingly has faked his death in an arson. So we got a little bit of Firefly set up there. Of course, we're going to be seeing him in that Batgirl movie coming up this year. And the Weather Wizard, a Flash villain was set up. Tiki, the
Oh
wizard,
dear
Mark
God.
Martin.
Oh, there's a lot of things being set up here.
Yeah, it's a long crawl.
It
so,
is.
so let's see. So the Weather Wizard, Mark Martin. The idea is like a Gotham City weatherman is moving to Central City, and there's like a storm front moving in while he's doing that. Like, oh, ho, ho, he's doing stuff already. Okay, so then back to the main news here. So the leak, here's the big reveal, Tiki. The leaked video sessions. We reveal what the source of the leaked video sessions from inside the asylum. It was Mac
Mhm.
Rodello, who was the bookworm from the '60s Batman show.
That was really cool. Yeah, that was a really fun reveal for sure.
Of course, he had like access to the
Very
library.
Nolanized, very much actually makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's got access to the computer in the library because of the library privileges. They nicknamed him the bookworm. It makes sense. I like it.
Totally.
And we revealed the leak of the GCPD. Well, basically, in quotes, like we heavily imply who's responsible for the GCPD police evidence tapes being leaked, which Joker called out in his interrogation video. When the cops are interrogating him once he surrendered himself. Jim Corrigan, one of the two cops that was down there, like, hey, why are you here, Corrigan? Like, you're trying to sell the tapes, make some cash on the side, which absolutely he did. And Bullock's like taking events. Hey, I'm dedicated to this police department. He's making a big show of it as Corrigan's being led out, hounded by the paparazzi. Which in the comics, the Gotham Central story, Jim Corrigan was revealed to be corrupt. So all that's on the money. So that's really
Uh-huh.
that's fun. Uh, John Paul Valley, he's building a bat suit. He's building like a militarized exosuit, which ultimately will become a bat suit. Which, seeing how Dark Knight Rises went, obviously that one doesn't fully track, but who knows what happens after Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
He could have come in afterwards. We don't know. And then one last one before we get back in the basically kind of the big quote at the end here. Dr. Tompkins, Leslie Tompkins, we reopened Gotham Memorial, which Thomas Elliott will be going to work at. So again, the hospital that was blown up has been rebuilt and is opening again.
All right.
Okay, so Lockup. So this is the whole reason I was excited for you to watch that Lockup episode, Tiki. The big payoff. Lyle Bolton, he's been through heck. He's turned into Lockup.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's really interesting. Just the performance, just the way that they frame him. Um, yeah, definitely the one of the more compelling parts of the episode for sure. Really gets you kind of intrigued for what's gonna happen moving into the second phase of this with him.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, I don't want to give anything away. Let's say it might not go the way you think it will, but it'll go. I don't know how you're going to react to it. I know how I feel about it. We'll see how you do.
Okay.
Anyway, so he's. I love the obvious gag that he's calling himself Lockup. He's in shadow, but very obviously we're gonna like because it's like the same framing and everything. And once they show like, hey, this random security like Lyle Bolton, it's very obvious that's the same guy and it's Lyle Bolton, which is really funny. Which you see all the time. Like, really, are we at some point? Why are we obscuring the people if we're going to make it obvious that it's them?
Right, right.
Which does happen sometimes. Hopefully, thankfully, not as often as you fear it might, but it does happen. So he recaps what happened. We basically recap what happened to Lyle because remember we checked in a little bit during the radio during things like Lyle Bolton was found and we just got away. So he was attacked by Killer Croc in the sewers and Batman saved him. That's why it took Batman so long to get to the church.
Uh-huh.
So he's following the bar collar, ended up saving Lyle, and yeah. So the idea is Lyle has been inspired by Batman to become a vigilante because of this event.
Ah, there you go. Just kind of continuing on that theme that I feel like
Mhm.
both Dark Knight and the Batman tackled.
Oh yeah, the copycat Batman for sure. Yeah. Okay, so he's saying he's being investigated because his weapons were used in the Wedding Day Massacre because they were his weapons, which again he views as unfair, and he makes there's a big mo here where therapy doesn't work. They need to be locked away. If I don't do it, I don't know who will.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so then on the crawl, Ferris Boyle he hires Victor Freeze for his many new hires for assumingly for his cryogenics program.
And it's interesting, kind of like sort of analyzing like what in this crawl is just an Easter egg, what is actually going to like be a foreshadow that's going to come into play.
Oh yeah,
because I mean, it's like I can't imagine they could do all of these characters.
Oh no,
over the
no.
course of the series. Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you that. Don't expect to see all of this. Tiki.
No, I
Expect to
wasn't.
expect to see some, and I'd use some like as an estimation of like let's say we're gonna see some done really well, but let's just say some.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Okay. This one's interesting on the rewatch. I never considered this. So Ivy, Pamela Isley. The idea is that there was a robbery at the botanical lab in which Jason Woodrue, the Floronic Man, or for the kids out there who've seen Batman and Robin, the Jason Woodrue, the guy who says, and now I'm afraid you'll have to die.
Ah!
That guy.
Yes,
So, of
yes.
course, the wonderful John Glover, who voiced the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series, he played Woodrue, who becomes the Floronic Man for the Swamp Thing fans. Anyway, point being, she stole. The idea is that Ivy stole plants during the Wedding Day Massacre. So when she left that church, she kind of used it as a cover to steal the plants from the lab.
Uh-huh.
Pretty crafty. Okay, so here's something big. This is something important. So we mentioned the crime syndicate, which just calling it a crime syndicate, I'd like to think in my heart of hearts, a little nod to Detective 27, which is the crimes of the chemical syndicate.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, mention basically all the crime families in the Nolan version of Gotham here, in which we have Falcone, Maroni, Galante, Riley, Sabatino, and most of these are from the Long Halloween, mind you. Like Riley were the Irish gang, I believe. Some of these came into like the sequels to Long Halloween as well, like Dark Victory and so on and so forth. And also Sionis. So we do mention Black Mask here. So Roman Sionis, he's he's quoted of saying, we're trying to keep the freaks out of the family. The whole point of Long Halloween, trying to kind of keep the freaks out of the family, which clearly did not go well. And then a big moment happens. Tiki, Carl Beaumont has been killed in what is believed to be a mob hit.
Yeah.
We've entered the phantasm. Dear God, yes. And not only do we mention Carl Beaumont's untimely death, we mentioned that Andrea Beaumont has been dating Bruce Wayne.
Don't we see like a little clip of Bruce Wayne too?
Yes. So here's what we do. So Bruce Wayne is mentioned here. We see him at the very end. He's like the last thing gets brought up, kind of like our new owner of Arkham thing. So he gets brought up visually. So on the scroll we build up. There's basically a serial killing spree in Gotham. Who is the Batman? A lot of clues being left, a little bit of a Riddler being teed up there. Like, who is the Batman at each crime scene? Sounds eerily kind of Nostradamus-esque. Dr. Quinzel. Okay, so Dr. Quinzel says her work is all she has left. If she quits and leaves, he wins. She's planning on finishing the work she started. She thinks she can help him. Obviously, the poor deluded girl. She's just doomed. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, then we have Mike Engel come back, and this is where we see Bruce Wayne again. It's like Bruce Wayne's condition critical after a hunting accident on the Wayne estates. That's where we see like Christian Bale's picture thrown up there.
Yeah.
Like mentions like crocodiles in the sewer. Lyle Bolton has the story, and new owner, helper, hindrance, all that sort of stuff. So that rounds it out. That's all. It's a big expo dump, but that's what it is.
That's it.
Yeah. Final thoughts, Tiki. What do you got?
Okay, I mean, first of all, I just want to apologize. You're throwing all these Easter eggs at me, and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I don't have much to say on it, Dragon, until we see how they're used in the actual story, So don't think I'm not interested. I just don't really have that sure is a reference to Phantasm. We'll see how it plays out, So I apologize on my lack of commentary. It's just like I said, I just don't know how any of these people are actually going to play into the series. But as final thoughts go, like I said, I think this is essentially it's kind of clever to make. I don't want to call this a clip show because it really, at the end of the day, it's really not. But it's about the closest thing that a show like this could have to a clip show. And what is the news if not a collection of found footage, Dragon? So I think that was really clever on their end to do that. I do think that with the newsreel, you're obviously the bigger Batman fan. You're going to just eat all those Easter eggs up. I think for me, it was honestly a little distracting just because I'm like, okay, I know in my heart of hearts, we're not going to get to have every one of these characters in here. So yeah, it's fleshing out the world. But at the same time, I kind of want to be focused on, on the characters that are actually going to make a mark in this next part of the show. So I don't know. That's the only thing where I was like, cool to see the names of the characters and cool to see them officially, well, not officially, but, like canonized in the Nolan verse through these means. But I don't know. It was at a certain point, I was just kind of like, all right, yeah, that's another reference. Cool. We'll have to wait and see if they actually have an impact.
I mean, it's impressive that the whole thing was, the whole thing wasn't just. Sometimes you have in fan films you have filler news, but no, all the news is
no. You're right about that. With the scroll, it's the whole thing was very much kind of it all related to what the Joker was doing. And 9 minutes of scroll is pretty impressive, so I'll give them that much. Yeah.
All right. Final thoughts for me. It's on a note too before we go is that again, I think if memory serves, this is only the second episode ever that the Joker does not appear in. It was kind of once
that makes sense,
if you will. In the first half, it was the whole it was kind of the aftermath of him breaking out of Arkham, and now in the aftermath of all the stuff he did, it's we're kind of putting him back. He's either escaping somewhere or we're transferring him back to Arkham, one way or another. So ultimately, yeah, I'm pretty much in concurrence here. Where it's a clever way of doing setup and aftermath. It ties into the Dark Knight viral marketing rather well, and again, it was. I mean, it's funny that in the grand scheme of things, we had set up, the GCN of it all through, Ted, who was a cameraman for GCN, and Jack Ryder, who was interning as a cameraman for at GCN and everything. So it's kind of funny that we've been kind of setting this up and we kind of pay it off nicely. We found a nice way to work in the news network. It didn't just feel like, okay, and we're just going to have some news. It feels like we are building something. We are fleshing out the world. It's an expo dump, but it's a cool way to do it. It's a cool expo dump.
All right. Okay, that's about it. Folks, our time is up, and it's time to reseal the further evidence until our next session. When we attempt to answer the question: is there a method to the madness? With the Joker Blogs case study.
I'm still receiving hate mail.
I'm afraid you'll have to die.